Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of EdTech on the street in the city that never sleeps. Today we have Puneet visiting us all the way here in Chelsea Market to film today's episode. He is one of the investors from Magic Soulmark, who was funded and helped really kickstart Magic EdTech's journey here in New York and in our India team. And he's here to enlighten us with his story, since he is one of the longest knowing people of Aki, our CEO. Isn't that right?
That is true. I have known him the longest, more than anybody else here in Soulmark or in Magic.
And you
Absolutely.
said 40 years?
More than 40 years.
More than 40
we
years.
both started our work life together on 1st July 1985.
Wow.
Yeah. So, very happy, and I call Aki not only just my very good, co-founder, but also a fantastic friend, and we have a multi-generational friendship between the two families, so really proud of that. Yes.
So fun. So glad we got to do this interview. And so far we have come to Chelsea Market not only for the interview but for some sweet treats. I got rose oil. What do you have?
I got marzipan.
Okay.
Marzipan.
So we're going to try these while we're doing our interview, and then we also got our little tea break.
Oh yeah, there's boba teas, but without the boba stuff.
Yeah.
That is great.
Yes, so we're going to try it out. Puneet had asked what are the two most popular flavors, and he got the lychee tea.
Yeah.
Green tea.
Lychee and green tea.
Yep, and I got the, I don't even know, lemonade. That's with mango and I think passion fruit or something. Something like that.
Yes.
Very fruity. So we're ready. The scene is set. I have my questions. Are you ready, Puneet?
Absolutely.
Let's get into it. So before I jump into my 4 very deep questions about entrepreneurship, investing, Magic EdTech, and all the tea, literally, could you maybe share a little bit of your background? I know we were talking a little bit before when we were walking about how you got your MBA from UB, which is close to my hometown. You did a lot of investing work beyond just Magic Soulmark, help inspire youth going into entrepreneurship. So let's get the whole rundown today.
Okay. Like I said, my first job was with HCL. I graduated in 1985 and got hired on campus, just like Aki, and we all started our training together at HCL with a 2-month training program.
Okay.
Then after that, got posted to Bombay, came out, did my MBA at University of Buffalo at UB. Yeah, and then I've been in the US since. You know, I was part of the original team that was growing HCL, worked in HCL till 1996. And then went on to my own entrepreneurial journey since then. And we've been together, the rest of the team, as you know, some of the other folks, Nikki, Aki, Arjun, myself, Sandeep, others, and many others. We've been together for a very long time.
It's so cool and so inspiring that you guys really have this long history together and came together, still bringing the magic and inspiring future generations as well, especially when it comes into education with Magic EdTech. Really helping fuel the education the next generations to come. It's very inspiring.
Yeah, no, I'm very lucky. I think I'm very blessed. And I was telling you earlier on, a friend of ours who said this mantra, where she breathes in blessings and exhales out gratitude.
Yeah.
I have that same sense that every day it's a blessing,
Yeah.
and I have nothing but gratitude for the friendships that I've developed, for the work that we've done together, for the experiences that we've gone on. So really feel lucky. Thrilled about it. Absolutely.
I love it. I love the positive energy. I love the vibes. This is going to be a good interview. I can feel it. All right. So we're going to jump right into it. My first question for you is, with Magic celebrating their 35 years back in July and going on up until the summit now, what do you think it takes for a company to stay relevant that long in such a rapidly changing industry? Now you can speak to this in terms of EdTech, you can speak to it beyond EdTech, wherever you want to take the question.
Yeah. I think in terms of longevity of a business, and great congratulations, Magic completed 35 years. That's fantastic. I read a stat somewhere that the average business lifetime doesn't exceed more than 7-8 years.
Wow.
So the fact that Magic has done 35 years, that is fantastic.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, some businesses that were much longer stints than Magic? Well, I think I'll take 3 examples. Okay, these are 3 of my favorite companies. I really like them. And I'll tell you why I like them. And I think for Magic also, it resonates in some sense of all these things. So, you heard of a pencil company called Faber-Castell?
Yes.
They've been around for 260 years. It's still
Wow.
a family-owned business.
Wow.
You know, and Faber-Castell believes very strongly in, making sure that societal norms that they propagate, the family values that they, uphold, and the whole thing about sustainability. And they have continued in business even when it was very difficult for them, to the bottom line. So they have never deviated from that. So it's a very, very purpose-driven organization, and that's what has held them in great stead. The second organization I want to talk about, and the name that many of our viewers will be familiar with, is the Tata Group. Tata Group has been around for over 150 years. Again, they call themselves from salt to software businesses. They've got very varied businesses. They do motor steel, they do motor company, they do software, they do salt and all that. Yeah. I think the reason why they have been around is because, again, of the ethical value, the philanthropy, and the cultural elements behind that. There was a case, I don't know if you read about it, many years ago. There was a terrorist attack in India, in Bombay.
Right.
And it happened actually around the Taj Hotel, which is their brand of hotels.
Yeah.
And the Taj employees, no one left, and many of those employees lost their lives because they were protecting the patrons. Now, which organization, has that level of training and that level of commitment, that you build a culture, that you actually give which is your ultimate sacrifice, is that you actually give your life away.
Yeah.
Military organizations and all that, you're taught and trained to do this thing. But a corporate organization that does this thing, that is just fantastic. So when you think about Tata's, you think about great ethical values. You think about, and they have done lots of work in the non-profit organization. They've got a huge philanthropic arm as well. They've got educational institutes. They've got for-profit businesses, etc. So that's the second organization. Again, a purpose-driven organization. And the third one, closer to tenure, to Magic, a company who's, I'm not wearing the t-shirt I have, and I'm a proud wearer of the Patagonia brand.
Everyone's familiar
right
with that
here in
one.
the US, and I love that company.
Yeah.
So Eva, I think it was formed in 1973. Yvon Chouinard, who was the founder of the company. He in fact did something which is remarkable. I think 2 years ago, 1923, or 2023, he said not a bit of it, not 90% of it, but 100% of that entire wealth, the children, the families, everybody's, he actually donated it, and he made actually the earth as the only shareholder. So his belief and conviction that the business that they do, the fair labor practices that they follow, the sustainability, etc., he actually put his money where his mouth is.
Wow.
So that was something totally remarkable, a company like that. So I think, again, when I think about, and there are many, many great companies, after citing these 3 examples, just placing about how about longevity, that those companies that at their very heart, at their very core, believe that, they are doing the right thing by what they're guided by their principles and philosophy. And they do not waver from that, in spite of all kinds of different pressures. And their employees believe in it and live and breathe this every day. I think that's what it is. So I think for a company, you asked me this question about Magic.
Yeah.
I think, again, I think about Arjun, who's the chairman, and Aki, and many of the employees. I feel very strongly that they, propagate, they walk the talk. I tell people that Arjun comes up with a monthly newsletter. Every month he has a little newsletter, and I want Aki actually to compile that, because it is just fabulous. If you haven't read those newsletters, just folksy wisdom, but really true, comes from his heart. And that is a value system that is espoused in the company. So I think if you walk the talk, and you stand for good values, and you stand for an overall, betterment of not just the shareholders, but for society at large. I think then those companies have sustainability.
Right.
So to your points, really what Magic ought to do, I think as long as we don't deviate from our core principles and not chase profit only and forego everything else, but continue to be true to our ethical values. And I think our customers, our employees, and everybody in the ecosystem recognizes, then you become a viable, long-standing businesses. So really, I tell everybody is that to build a good business, think about the purpose of the business and be true to that purpose of the business. Profits will follow. Yeah.
I really like that, and I feel like this whole idea of having that mission and alignment in values now is so difficult with this whole rage in AI and new tech. And it leads me to my follow-up question, kind of spontaneous, is with the recent news of OpenAI, Meta going through these bidding wars for their engineers, for their people. You have some companies that still believe in the importance of instilling values and the mission to unite people to keep them to stay.
Yeah.
But then we also see some success with Meta and OpenAI being able to get people to switch between them because of the price tag that they're offering. What is your advice? What is your thought process for this approach? Is it sustainable? Are they going to have to end up falling into the value focus, mission focus, or will they always be able to grab people with the bidding wars?
Yeah. I think whenever a change happens, and again, I go back to just my own lifetime or a little bit before my working lifespan. So we take last maybe 50 years or so from the 70s onwards to now.
Right.
We've seen a few changes in the technology landscape. We've seen that. And I think whenever a change happens, there are both opportunities and threats that happen.
Of course.
So there's the opportunity to have an impact, to create wealth, and build up businesses that have a disproportionate amount of impact. And then, of course, there are challenges that if you don't keep up with it, then you could kind of become irrelevant and disappear. And we've seen many Kodak stories play out, in our life.
Yeah.
So I think when I think about, and I would segregate into like two phases, they don't have a distinct demarcation between the two.
Okay.
But I would say that we were lucky to be the product of the whole digitization world. 2-3 things were colliding, or came together at the same time.
Yeah.
So one was the whole personal computing element of it. I remember when HCL in 1985, we launched the first personal computer. It was called BusyBee. There were no personal computers before that in India. We launched the BusyBee in the Indian market, and people interacted with computers very differently than what they had been used to on the big green screens or etc. So it kind of brought computing to a very different level.
Okay.
So then the advent of the internet, the whole World Wide Web, email and everything else, etc. How that changed, and then the last element of it was really in terms of the mobile revolution. Yeah. So when you had a mobile phone, when you had the World Wide Web, the internet, and we had the personal computer, in terms of how we processed information, how we consumed information, how we communicated with each other, that went through a big change. And many companies, many people actually made tons of money. And some old companies, they kind of disappeared into the oblivion. So it was a threat to them as well.
Yeah.
I think you come to this recent thing, and I say recent, I don't just take AI, but I take a bunch of those, technologies that are kind of impacting us today. So think about it, of course, the whole AI and machine learning elements of it. But I also think about that, you think about, for example, what's happening in the IoT space, what's happening in the 5G space. All these different devices are all getting connected, and there's so much data happening. That data is now giving us far more informed information, and that's not possible unless you have a very high speed wireless, because these devices are all communicating wirelessly with each other. So you have a 5G network that's enabling all of that. Then you have things that are happening in the biotech space, the CRISPR technology, etc. We have the DNA mapping and all of that's happening.
Yeah.
So I think there are so many things that are happening, and because of this thing, there are new opportunities that are coming up. So I think businesses that kind of keep current, look at the new trend, adopt the new trend, industrialize the new trend, and bring it to market to people. I think they'll continue, to seize the opportunity, continue to be in people's minds, create shareholder wealth, create societal impact, etc. I mean, many of the technologies that in the early years that Apple pioneered actually came out of the Xerox Research Park.
Right.
Right. And Xerox was not an organization that was good at innovation. Steve Jobs was really good at that, and he had a nimble organization. He took many of those technologies and really actually industrialized them to the extent. That's why where Xerox is and where Apple today is. Look at the market cap of the two organizations. Look at the pre-call of those two grants, etc.
Yeah.
So I think I would say for Magic or for any other company, as these trends are changing, things are happening. How do you continue to look at this, see the impacts happening? There is no crystal ball, unfortunately, that you can kind of say, this is what's coming down the pipe.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet. Not yet. Exactly. I'd hope that there would be that crystal ball and voila. There is voila moments, right? But I think, but organizations that are nimble and understand this thing and can, look at the long-term ramification, plan around it, I think they'll definitely reap the dividends. So I think Magic is in a good place. I think that even in the whole education sector, what they're doing, I think there's a lot that's going on there, and I think there's a great opportunity, and we can talk more about that.
Yeah. And bringing it back to what you were saying earlier about with all this change going on, people are still going to gravitate to the values and mission that they relate to.
Yeah.
For all humans at the end of the day.
Yeah. I mean, you and I, any day of the week, we can always walk across the street to another job that may pay us, marginally or incrementally much more.
Right.
But the fact that we like and we don't change jobs every day, it's not like we're not day traders. It's, trading stock, trading our jobs every day.
Right.
Well, I think there's something far more that appeals to us more than the financial benefit of it. And I think that's sense of belongingness. That's a sense where your creativity is being allowed for you to kind of allow that to flourish. You have a camaraderie with your fellow workers. You have a sense that, hey, I count, and people are listening to me and I have the ability to do what I want to do.
Right.
So I think organizations need to build that into the culture.
Yeah.
And I think as long as, that continues to percolate, I think, we'll continue to retain good talent. So I think that being in the bidding war, the financial bidding war, is a tough place for people. Not everybody can play that game.
Right.
With that, there isn't that kind of a talent in any case, for that. So really what you've got to look around is to say, okay, what does it mean for you to work at Magic? You joined Magic recently, right? And so you quit somewhere else, or you had options, and the reason you joined Magic, I'm sure many of the same reasons is what people are processing. They're going through that themselves.
Yeah, and I love that. Well, before we get into our next question, let's open this up. Let's get a review.
I already started.
Okay. You already started.
No, I didn't. I haven't had I have it says marzipan, seed plus milk.
Okay. You're going to show it up a little bit to the camera.
Okay. Here's my marzipan.
Right.
Yeah, and you open your rose oil?
Yes, rose oil.
Okay.
Okay. It looks the same, but mine has dry rose petals on it.
By the way, we are in Chelsea Market, and this is my first visit to the Chelsea Market. And it's, it looks very historical. I don't know the history of this place, but it looks like it has a great vibe. So thank you for bringing me here.
Yeah, thank you for inviting. We're still, don't thank me. We still have a few more questions.
Yeah, I'm going to earn my marzipan.
Yeah. So go ahead and whoop.
Oops. Okay. It's harder than what I thought it is.
Yeah. Let's get it. What do you think? It's crunchier than I thought.
Yeah, it is. I was thinking it would be a softer cake. It's definitely crunchier.
Yeah.
It's got the quintessential almond flavor of the marzipan. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't really know how to describe this, actually. It's like,
The marzipan that I've had earlier has been a bit different. So, I must say a bit different.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Okay. We're trying something new.
I would give it 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. I haven't had enough to make my decision, but we're staying positive, right?
Yeah.
But that's a lot.
Absolutely.
This is a lot.
I know.
So it's gonna be.
We might be able to save some. You
Yeah.
take it back with us.
Yeah. All right.
Maybe. Maybe not.
Not as we finish it all during this interview. Okay. So next question. You've witnessed multiple waves of technology disruption. How is this current wave driven by AI and digital transformation different from the ones before? Which I think you started to touch base on a little bit were my previous question.
Yeah.
Maybe we want to get a little more specific with this one.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's very hard to predict, first of all. It's very hard for me to predict where this end up with. We're in the early part of the cycle. There's going to be a lot of, change that will happen.
Sure.
But clearly, it's a great productivity tool. It's automating many things that we had to do manually before.
Right.
It's giving us many more options, to kind of get our thoughts together. So I think of it as a fabulous productivity enhancement tool that's allowing us to do more things, without us delving into it manually. But where it'll end up with, I don't know. I'm sorry.
Here's my next question.
I don't know where it'll end up with.
Yeah.
But I think in any of this thing, I think you'll find innovators come along, take the base technology, take the base plumbing, and then start to build things on top of that.
Right.
And you're starting to see many use cases that are going to happen. We're starting to see in the supply chain, we're starting to see in biotech, we're starting to see in many automation elements around it. We're starting to see in coding, for example, now.
Yeah.
People are saying now, we've always heard the no code, low code paradigm.
Yeah.
Now, people are generating great code, through this thing. So we're starting to see some of the manifestations with this new technology.
Right.
And, we're starting to see the benefits of that, but definitely a jump in productivity elements around this thing. I think one question people have in their mind is, we're going to become completely redundant? Are we going to become useless? Is there going to be a moment when the machines will rule us?
Yeah.
I am not so, I'm not a big believer of that. I think the innate intelligence, creativity that humans have, it's hard to kind of replicate that inside a machine across the board. I think you're going to start to see some use cases where a machine, and we've seen that, right? We've seen that, when the first time around, I forget the name of the IBM had a program, and I forget the name of the program that that beat best chess player. Right? Or Google had DeepMind. Right? And then we had Google develop their engine that could beat the best Go player in the world.
Right.
So you're going to see some use cases around that thing happening.
Yeah.
And I think that where it's going to do is it's going to do a lot of enhancement to the work and stuff that we're taking. So great productivity tool. I live in Singapore now, by the way, and one of the top ranked universities in Singapore, and ranked in the top 20 universities in the world is the National University of Singapore,
right,
which has a great medical school. And I went to a conference at NUS, and they were talking about how they are doing robotic surgery in Ghana. So the advancements in robotics, sitting in Singapore, the surgeons are sitting in Singapore operating remotely through a robotic surgery in Ghana. So now what does this do? It really flattens the world. You could use any part of the world, and as long as you have access to machinery, then this could change and shift. Right. So I think some of those things can happen. I mean, when the mobile phone came, one of my favorite examples of a use case of the mobile technology was, I had a gardener, he only spoke Spanish. So Hispanic gentleman, and we had only sign language to tell him how to mow the lawn, trim the hedge, plant flower here. But when he had a mobile phone, I remember his name was Jesus, and he came and I told him, Jesus, you've got to do this. And pardon the noise. Sorry, we're in a public space, and these chairs make a lot of noise when they move them.
Yeah.
So as soon as we told him something, he said, "Wait a moment," and he dialed his son, and I realized that his son, who was young and had gone to school here, and he knew he was bilingual, he knew he could speak English and Spanish. So here was an interpreter. I was thinking, wow, this device, this mobile phone can get now so many people into the workforce who hitherto could not be employed because they were away from that, right?
Right.
When the pandemic taught us work from home.
Yeah.
So really what we learned was that we don't have to go to an office anymore. And remote working meant not just from any home. You could go to Tahiti, you could go to any exotic place and continue to work.
Yeah.
So I think this whole notion of how you can work away from home, etc. So I think these new technologies will bring a lot of those elements,
Yeah.
and society structures will start to change. Actually, that those are things that will introduce where now people can travel. People did not travel before. They're traveling more and more, and now people don't have to be, even for a job, which was a thing that fixated people.
Yep.
For a job also, you don't have to be fixed in a certain location. So to me, it opens up many opportunities societally that people can say, I want to be in that climate, and therefore I want to work for the same job in New York City, but I want to breathe in not this polluted air, but I want to be up in the mountain top somewhere and work from there. All I need is a great internet connection, and that's all it is. So I think those things are what will come into play. So I think the way we work, the way society interacts and functions, it'll start to have impact around that.